In this video, I am going to show you or demo what I did with you guys in class today in terms of putting different floors and using Illustrator. So we're using Illustrator to do our visual merchandising layout. We're not using CAD or anything like this. It's a great way, number one, to understand how to put a space together at the same time while learning Illustrator, which is a program that you do need to know. So you've done really well so far, and you've gotten a little more comfortable with the pen tool and things along those lines. So now what I want to do is show you how to put the flooring in. So the first flooring, at least from using an image and making it look somewhat believable. So the first flooring I'm going to show you is marble, and I've just pulled some marble off of the internet to making certain that it's two-dimensional, it's not in perspective or anything like that, and then I'm going to place this in. But I did want to go over with you guys how to set up the grid again, just in case you needed to see that again. So what I'm going to do is on Illustrator, I am going to do File, New, and in doing that, set up your document. We've talked about this before, making certain that it's inches. Very often, yours will default to points, and we don't want to work with points. We want to work with inches. Set the document up to whatever size that you would like for it to be, or it needs to be, and then after that, hit OK. And then we have this document set up. So the next step is, if you remember now, to set up the grids and the guidelines and all of that. If you're in or on a Mac, sorry, your preferences is right here under Illustrator CC. You'll find it. If you're on a PC, you'll find it under Edit at the bottom. Or what I would like for you to get comfortable with learning is just Command or Control on a PC K, which is the shortcut. So I just hit Command and the letter K. This pops up. So it takes me to my units. Make certain that they're in inches. Your strokes are in inches, at least for what we're working on now. Often I like to keep my stroke in points, but for this I'm going to do inches, so I would like for you to do it as well. After that, we're going to go to Grids and Guides. So just right under Units, click on Guides and Grids. Sorry, I said Grids and Guides, but no, I said what? Guides and Grids. Okay, anyway. We're going to set this up, make certain it looks like this. Now you can change the color of your grid to anything that you would like, but we are working in half-inch scale. So in half-inch scale, we need to use 0.5 inches, and the grid will show a grid every half inch, which will equate to a foot in life. So make certain that this is set up. Make certain that there is one subdivision. It might default to 8. Put 1. That's all we need for this. It also will default to this. Grids in the back. Right now, I would like for the grid to be in the front so I can count and see what I'm doing. And so uncheck that, and you can always come back while you're working and change anything you would like. Like I said, if you want to change the color of this, you can pull this up. If you're more in this kind of mood today, then that's the color you can do. Hit OK. And there it is. And now we have that. So to see our grids, you just go to View and Show Grid, or the shortcut is Command, and you can see this comma right here. So you can hit this or Show Grid, and here it is. So now you've set your grid up, and you can work within your document, and you can toggle back and forth between that with the Command comma sign or Control back and forth. So that's how you set up the grids for anybody who really needed to go over that again. There you go. And so you can always reference back to this video if you forget, or if you forget what setup should be or anything like that. So now back to this. I have this set up. Now what I've done over here, if you see, is I've locked my windows and walls. I have this set up, and I've added another layer and I've put it here. So the way to do that is, let me delete that. I'm going to go right here next to the trash can where it says Create New Layer, and I create the new layer, and it automatically will go to the top. I want it underneath everything I'm drawing because this is my floor. That way it'll go underneath the black wall lines that I have, and it'll show through because all my drawings up here have no fill on them. So they're just a stroke line with no fill. So anything I put on this layer will go underneath my wall drawing and underneath my windows, which is pretty great. So now the next thing you do is just start putting the floor in with an image that you find. This is the one I'm going to use for marble. And so I'm going to do File, Place, and I'm going to find my marble. There's my marble tile right there, and I'm going to place it in. So I can click and it'll go to scale, or I can drag it in and make it work to scale to my drawing. I am going to roughly put it in like this. And then what I need to do is turn on my grid so I can get a good idea of what I'm doing, because remember, every half inch or every grid you see on here will equate to a foot in life. So here's my grids, and so I'm looking at this, and I would like a 2 foot by 2 foot. So what I'm going to do is, and what I can do is up here, take a look at this, and this is 2.5 inches and 2.5 inches. So what I'm going to do here is, let me see, I'm going to eyeball this just a little. Let me go over here and get it to where it's in the scale I want. And let me do this, make certain you hold shift so everything stays constrained and in proportion. There you go. I would like a little bit larger tile. So now what I'm going to do is I have this tile. All I have to do is now put them across the floor. Now you can do it the hard way and copy paste, or use the alt key and drag, but let me show you something that'll make your lives so much easier. I'm going to click on it, hold the alt key, and then I'm going to drag. It's going to click. The computer knows that it's intersected. If I'm happy with it, now all I hit is Control or Command D if you're on a Mac. Don't do anything. Command D, and what that does is it duplicates the last move. Now don't worry about going over. We'll take care of that when we're done. So I have that. Now what I'm going to do is select all of these together and group them. So you can individually select and hold the shift key, and it'll let you keep selecting, or you can just use the selection, make sure you're on the selection, and just kind of draw a box over all of them. Make sure you touch each one and they'll all select. So now what I'm going to do once they're all selected is I'm going to group them. So Object, Group, or shortcut Command G. That means now anytime I go to move any of them, they'll all come with, and that's what I want. So now I hold the Alt key again and I make a copy of those. And so I bring them over, let the computer tell me when they're lined up. If I'm happy, yes. Now all I do is hit Command D or Control D on a PC, and there you have it. So I have my floor worked out, so what I have to do now is get rid of this little section. Now I could easily choose all of them and kind of squish them up, but it's going to deform the marble just a little. And let me show you just in this one little space if I did do this. And I want to keep it the way it is. So if you notice, and let me turn off my grid quickly, so you can see the difference between what the marble looks like here and the marble looks like here. Now if I did them all, they would all look like this, which would be consistent, but they're smaller than what I wanted. So I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep my grid off for a little bit. I am going to select all of these by running across, and right here there's a little white space, so I just want to inch it over and get it exactly where I want it first. Okay, now I'm just going to make a clipping mask, and remember, to make a clipping mask you need to put the shape of whatever you want it to clip to on top of the images. Everything else is locked. The only thing on this layer that I'm going to be dealing with is the floor and the shape that I want to clip to. And that makes your life so much easier. So remember to work in layers, and then that way you're not battling trying not to select the windows or trying not to select the door. So I just go and grab my rectangle tool, go up here, make the shape of what I want this marble to clip to, and there it is. And now all I need to do is, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to V to go to the selection tool, and then I'm going to select all. And the reason I can select all, like I just said, is that if you notice, only thing on this layer is the box I just drew and all the marbles. So I can select all because that's all it's going to select. The other two are locked, meaning everything I need to select is done, so I can make the clipping mask. Select the object on top, select the image you want to clip it to, which in my case are all those little images I've grouped, and then I'm just going to right click or control click if you're on a laptop and clip it to the space, hit V so I can get out, and there it is. So now I have my marble floor clipped in my space, and then we're ready to start putting the furniture or display symbols on top of this for the merchandising. So that's how you would add marble in. What I'm going to do is turn that eye off, and then now I'm going to do something with hardwood, and what I have found with wood, pretty easy thing to do depending on the image of your wood, is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do File. Well, it would help if I made a new layer first, right? Now this layer is on top of that layer, but it's still underneath my windows and walls, and that's what I want. I do not want that layer on top. I want them underneath my wall drawings. So I have this. Now this should work. There we go. File, place. Got ahead of myself. Sorry, guys. And here is a piece of flooring that I'm going to use. Now I know we talked about earlier how I could take this image into Photoshop and showed you in class, and I could do some image manipulation to it and change the color, maybe get rid of this dark stripe here if I would want, but you know, that's kind of up to you. So if you remember, if I go over here, we had played around with changing the color. Let me see if I can get back out of it a little bit and get it back to normal. What I might want to do on this one is get rid of this band here. It's a decorative component that may, if you wanted it to travel around just the edges of the room, it's something that you could add later, but what it's going to do is keep making a stripe in mine. Usually this would not be an issue and you wouldn't have to do this, but I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. So I've hit the crop tool right here in Photoshop, and I've pulled it up to here. And if I like it, I'm going to go up here, hit selection, crop, yes, and I've cropped off that little spot. So now what I'm going to do is select all, which is Control or Command A, and then I'm going to hit Command C or Control, which stands for copy. So Command A, select all, Command C would be copy, but remember I'm on a Mac. So now I'm going to go back to, so I'm going to cancel this, because I'm just going to paste it in. So now I'm going to hit Command V, and it's quite large, so I'm going to scale this down once again to the size that is fitting to my space in terms of the size that I want the hardwood floor. Holding the Shift key, remember, do not make anything larger or smaller if you are not holding the Shift key in terms of a square or something like that. Now you're going to see I'm going to stretch it out a little bit now for another reason. But so what we did with our marble is, okay, so the next thing is I'll hit Alt, let me select it, hit Alt, make a copy, there it is, Alt, make a copy, there it is, but see what's starting to happen is we're getting that same repetitive tile pattern, and we don't want that, it's hardwood. So what I'm going to do is select these three and delete. The computer's running a little slow. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch it horizontally. And what I can do is pull the wood tile that way. Now I'm going to hit Alt and pull it down this way. Now you're going to see it. I'm going to do it one more time. And same thing, we're starting to see this kind of same pattern pop up. So what I might want to do is take this middle one, pull it here, then take this one, hold the Alt key, put it there, and then stretch this so I can mix it up just a little so it's not exactly like this one. We have that one. Also on this one, what I can do is, oops, not that. What I can do is rotate it, and then as I get close to where I want it straight, remember if you hold the Shift key, the computer will finish it off for you. So now if you see, like we're starting to mix up the little pattern that the tile is making just a little bit, just so we aren't seeing it exactly the same everywhere. So I'm going to kind of put that one in, get it where I want, and then I'm going to hold the Alt key, bring it down one more time. And same thing on this side. What I might do is that, and then hold the Alt key here, bring this down. Oops, and hold the Alt key. Do this. And so you can see how we're kind of messing with, and the pattern kind of changes a little, and it's not this checkered same pattern going on. So, you know, you could even take this and pull it in, and it would read a little differently there. And I might hold the Alt key, bring that one down here, but put this one on top. And what's happened is, as I go on top of these, as you can see, this one and this one float on top of this one. What I want to do on this one is bring it to the front, so it'll make it look a little different. So right click on it, arrange, bring to the front, and it brings that one to the front where I want it. And I can just get it into the spot where it needs to be. and then take this, and then I can do something like that. Now if I do that, what ends up happening is you can notice that the tiles ended up getting small, or not tiles, I'm sorry, the flooring ended up getting smaller here than here. So what I'm going to do is once again make a clipping mask. And so very easily go over here, grab my rectangle tool, make a box the size of what I want it to clip to, then select all, Control A on that layer. The only thing on that layer is the box and the hardwood, and then right click, make clipping mask, and now I have my hardwood put into the floor. So those are a couple of the things that you can do if you're working with a tile or if you're working with wood. That way, if you notice, we've got these little different versions of it as I float over and you can see the ghosts. You know, that we kind of got rid of that pattern. It's believable, and now we can go to the next step on this one and start putting it in. And then, you know, for those of you who are using something a little different, I know someone had some treated concrete and someone else had a floor made of glitter. So those are things that we can work individually on one-on-one if you would like, and I can show you some techniques that we can do in Photoshop first in class, and then you know, then we can put those in if you need to. So that's a quick tutorial on how to get a flooring into a space plan just using Illustrator, you know. And like I said, there are definitely more tools out there that you'll learn, you know, in terms of CAD, SketchUp, those things in software. But this is a good way to kind of understand the fundamentals of it in a beginning class, and at the same time learning how to manipulate and to use Illustrator. All right, okay, bye.